Alright, match number 1. We are on the draw. This hand has way too many mountains. There's a reason why we only play 18, and that's because we do not want 5 in our opening hand. Additionally, Goblin Cohort is very bad if we're flooded, because then it can't even do anything except for block, so I'm going to mulligan. And now we have 0 lands, which is worse by a little bit. Alright, best hand yet. And Goblin Cohort. Since we're on the draw, we can play that turn 1, so I will keep it. Turn 2 Denizen, and also probably Raider. Follow that up with hopefully more creatures. And we might be able to overcome a mull to 5. Alright, blue-black. Either playing against Control or maybe the Angler Delver deck. I could save the Mog Raider to make sure that I could attack with Cohort and Foundry next turn. If I don't draw a creature, it'd be pretty bad. And if I do save this, it's enabling 2 damage here and an extra damage here, so 3 damage. So instead of attacking for 1 next turn for certain, it's attacking for 3 if I don't make my creature drop. So this also lets me leave open a mana for Lightning Bolt if there's a creature I need to remove, such as a Delver of Secrets maybe. So I think it's correct to save this, given that I drew another mountain. Chainer's Edict, okay. Here's where I have to decide. These guys are both going to attack for 2 next turn. I believe it's better to save Foundry Street Denizen. While it's more susceptible to shrivel type effects if they happen to have them, the Foundry will attack for 2 on at least 2 on every turn that we cast a creature. So it's always going to be at least as good as a Cohort, and it can at least attack for 1 when we don't cast creatures, whereas this can't attack at all. So goodbye my 2/2. If this is Control, I could just fire off the Bolt at the face, but they might still play some Delver of Secrets or Seagate Oracles or maybe a Muldrifter or something. So I'm going to save this in case I need to hit a blocker. Well, being threat light against a Control deck is never a good sign. Somehow drawn up to 4 mountains anyway. But if we can draw running spells now, then we could potentially win. Nope, another mountain. Awesome. Accumulated knowledge, okay. Pristine Talisman, okay, we're not going to be able to beat this life gain. That's 1 life a turn. And this is as early as turn 5, so I'll assume they're creatureless Control, go ahead and bolt their face. Goblin Sledder, okay. If they just do nothing for the rest of the game, we can overcome this life gain, but that's not going to happen. Counterspell. Effectively only hitting for 1 a turn because of the Talisman. Curse of the Bloody Tome is down, so they have their win con. Yet another counterspell. Okay. I need to draw like Goblin Matron next turn. Something that gives me card advantage, and I need it to resolve. These life gain lands certainly aren't helping anything for us either. Heel Cutter, okay. It's actually pretty good. Triggers Foundry, attacks with haste. And they're going to Echoing Decay it. So I can sacrifice a creature to save it, but it's still going to attack for less. So I think I'm going to sacrifice it itself. This lets me get in the most damage possible this turn. And I'll let next turn worry about itself. Evincar's Justice with buyback. Okay, well, Sacrificing a goblin is not going to save me here. Won't be able to get past the required number of toughness. There goes my Fire Blast, one of my Bushwhackers, and I drew a mountain. Okay, well, our opponent has the game now. Yeah, I can't overcome the life gain plus the buyback on the Evincar's Justice. Best I could do is, let's see, I could untap. They could have absolutely nothing. I could go Goblin Matron into Bushwhacker, then maybe like another Goblin Matron into Bushwhacker. I guess I'll stick around for 1 or 2 more turns. It's not like they're learning that much from the curse. There's some slight variations in Goblins lists, but they're going to sideboard exactly the same no matter what they see us flip over. They're going to sideboard thinking we have an aggressive deck, which we do. If they want to waste their whole turn Evincar's Justicing, that's fine with me. It costs them 2 life. Slutter is not going to be the thing that wins me the game here. If I am able to win the game, it's going to be, like I said, like a Goblin Matron, something that gets me multiple things at once. Intimidate or Initiate, okay. And they have Mystical Teachings. Okay, so they're going to go get an Edict effect most likely. Okay, a Counterspell. Also, a Crypt Incursion, and at this point I really can't concede because they're going up to 41 life. Okie dokie. Alright, so against creatureless control, we don't need any of these cards. The only thing we need, and what's very good, are Pyroblasts. So I definitely want all of these against counterspells. What shall I cut? Assuming they continue to have no creatures, Goblin Heel Cutter is a lot worse, since it's not forcing damage through. Same thing with Initiates, they're just 1-mana 1/1s. And maybe Death Spark. Although Death Spark does kind of have a cool trick where you can hit them in the face for 1, sacrifice a goblin to Goblin Slutter or Mog Raider, and then you trigger the Death Spark, pay for it, bring it back, hit them in the face, and deal them 1 damage for every single goblin you sacrifice, once per turn. It doesn't catch up with the Pristine Talisman, but it could eventually let you burn someone out if you can't attack for some reason. But I don't expect them to have creatures to prevent us to attack, so I think this should go away. Sparksmith, I guess, is also pretty bad against creatureless. Bring it back in the Heel Cutter. Cut a Sparksmith. Gorilla Shaman and Smash the Smithereens, I guess, can hit a Pristine Talisman. Alright, let's just assume they're going to have 0 creatures and board exactly the best for that. Let's do Smash the Smithereens, and do I want a Gorilla Shaman as another way to kill a Pristine Talisman for a total cost of 7? No. Sylvok Lifestaff as a way to speed up a clock. Raise as a way to blow up Aqueduct. Yeah, I'll put in a 1 of Raise. I don't really want anything else, and we'll submit. Alright, on the play. Well, 4 lands instead of the 5 land hand we were dealt last time. Fire Blast, which doesn't do anything until the end of the game. A Cohort with only 1 other creature in hand. Should I keep this? I feel like I really shouldn't. Turn 1 Cohort, turn 2 I have to peel a spell off the top to be able to do anything. Let's assume I don't. Turn 3 Heel Cutter dashed, that means Cohort can attack, hit for 5. Next turn, play a 1-drop and Heel Cutter. Yeah, this can probably work. And I most likely am drawing a spell off the top because I only play 18 lands, so only 14 left in the deck. That's less than a 1 in 3 chance of drawing a land. And if I do draw a spell, or rather a creature on turn 2, that means Cohort can attack, so 4-landers are pretty bad still. They're not as bad as 5-landers, which you actually have to almost automatically mulligan, but 4-landers you definitely need to think about mulliganing as well. I'm not 100% positive what the right call is here. Well, we drew a land. We're doing really good at drawing lands in this match, which is unfortunate. Goblin Cohort. Well, I'm going to stay on curve here. I could cast the Goblin cohort and the next turn maybe hard cast the Heel Cutter, but I'd rather do this where our opponent doesn't have counterspell magic yet. But they have Remove Soul, so there we go. Luckily, this doesn't require a creature to resolve, it just requires you to cast a creature spell, so I still get to attack for 2. Double Radiant Fountain, good for their life gain, bad if they want to cast counterspell. Alright, there's Pristine Talisman. Now I need to find my Smash to Smithereens if possible. Okay. I could save a creature there, but I'm far enough behind now with this Pristine Talisman on the field that I need to be as aggressive as possible and just assume I'm going to keep on drawing creatures to trigger these cohorts. Main phase Mystical Teachings. Revealing Agony Warp, playing an Aqueduct, probably picking up a Radiant Fountain so they can gain some more life. Lightning Bolt. Well, that's not going to let these things attack. 7 points of burn in hand. But they have another Radiant Fountain coming down. Pristine Talisman's gaining 1 a turn. This is not going to be enough to get it done. I really need the creature there. Once again, Goblin Matron would be a great draw now that I'm flooding out. There's a Mole Drifter, okay. Alright. I can move that Mole Drifter out of the way. I think I'm going to. Assume I'm drawing a creature here, is what I have to do, which is why I moved the Mole Drifter out of the way. And I did not. Now I can hardcast Fire Blast, which is never... And I forgot to attack. Oh well. You can hardcast Fire Blast, which is not exactly where you want to be in this matchup. They can also flashback Teachings now, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. Oh boy. Well, our opponent has gotten their Pristine Talisman quickly each time. And we have flooded out both games. Which is unfortunate. Doomblade. Okay. If they just have nothing except for that Mystical Teachings in the yard, we could eventually do something. Goblin Matron into Goblin Bushwhacker. Could deal a massive amount of damage. And they remove Soul that because why not? And now they're going to Agony Warp, which we knew they already had. And they're also going to complete disregard. Alright. That's about lights out for us because they still have Mystical Teachings. They still have life gain of 1 a turn. Oh, look, there's a Pyroblast. That would have been good a long time ago. I could also try to counter whatever this grabs, but they might be searching for a black card like an Edict effect. They go get another Mystical Teachings, okay. Main phase it once again. Accumulated Knowledge. Hit their land drop. Main phase flashback Mystical Teachings. Okay, well, this is game. Can't overcome life gain when they're at 30, gaining 1 life a turn. Have their card advantage. They can search up anything that they want. 7 points of burn is not going to do it. So, quick match versus blue-black control. I think this is actually a good matchup for Goblins. We just drew very poorly and they set up very quickly. But in general, we should be fast enough to overcome them. And really, turn 4 Evincar's Justice is the only thing that can stop that. And with a Mog Raider or Goblin Sledder on the field, you can even make a decent number of your creatures survive Evincar's Justice. So that might not even be enough sometimes. So let's try to draw a few less mountains in our next matches. Okay, here we go.